Hello, everyone. So here we are again. Welcome to Uncaught in Exception mini session episode 13. This mini session is a virtual version of the regular monthly meetups of software developers, only that we do it weekly this time, virtually. So much for that intro. Let's start with Arnelle Balane. He's gonna talk about Umami. So you can go start.
You removed me. uh, okay. Well played. Hello, everyone. So this evening, I would like to share about umami. So umami, basically is a tool you can use for website analytics. Only that you host it yourself. So you're probably familiar with other like analytics services like Google Analytics. So it's provided by Google and others. Um, Umami in this case like is an open source project. You can host it yourself in your server. That way you have like full control and ownership of how your website analytics is stored. So this is their site. We can look at a live demo, which is um, like actual analytics page for like the Umami site itself. So you can see like standard analytics metrics like page views and bounce rates and average visit time and stuff like that. And also like the different pages that are visited by from different referrers and everything. So pretty like similar to other analytic services. Uh, so this is the repo on GitHub. So to the repo like basically provides like the instructions on how you can run it yourself. So we first start by cloning the repo, which I already did. So I already cloned the repo, which is this one, and npm install. I don't really have to do that because you can run it like manually, everything yourself by installing dependencies, creating a database, and configuring everything. But you can also run it as a Docker from a Docker image, which is what I will do. So by running Docker compose up dash d or Docker compose up whichever, I will have a Docker container running Umami. I already have that. So if I try to visit it, let's just close everything. By default, it runs at localhost 3000, and this is the Umami landing page. Okay, before we proceed, let's take a look first at like manually running everything. So you have to install everything. You have to create your own database. Currently, Umami supports MySQL and Postgres for like their database. I believe more databases will be supported eventually. And if you're like running it like manually yourself, you have to set up like the environment that end file for like your configs. So this is like something like it looks something like this. So you have to provide your database URL, which is so you can have your own like database running on the same server. In this case, which is similar to this localhost 5432. You can also have like a managed database, like for example from AWS um, services and other like managed database providers. You can also use that here. And then you also have to provide the hash secret. So I think these are the minimum like config you have to provide. But if you're using the Docker image, you don't have to worry about those. So let's proceed with the Docker image. I think I can now close this. So upon running Umami, it will already like set up the database for you. So by default, it will create a default admin account. So, so this is the Umami dashboard once the admin is logged in. So it's the Umami like app itself is pretty simple and like straightforward, at least for me. So there's a dashboard. There's you can't see anything because I don't. It's we just started the app, so there's really nothing in here. Real time, no data yet. Settings. So from the settings, you can change like your current password. Let's just change it to password. Okay, change accounts. So you can add other accounts. For example, let me add another one for myself. So accounts here are useful if you want to give other users access to your Umami na app. So that way, this user can add their own websites that are like that won't be visible, that won't be seen by other users also. So if you're like hosting an Umami server, you can invite your friends or other developers to use it, and they can add their sites. So and now let's actually add a website. So a website is like a website whose analytics you want to track. So in my case, I'm going to test it on my personal site. So let's call it, so let's just give it the name and the domain. Let's skip the other settings for now. So it's saved. So now you have a site. It's how do we start tracking? Umami will give you a tracking code. So it's basically just a script file, a script tag that you copy paste into your website's code. So let's copy that and let's paste it on my HTML template. So you don't have to worry about the rest of the code. This is just a sample site. So let me save it. I just added the script tag here. And if I refresh, oops, hopefully that worked. Okay, so as you can see, okay, why did I have 3 page views? I think it's because I'm running like Svet on dev mode. Could be one reason. So, but basically, this is how it works. I mean, it just shows you like your views. So let's try like navigating into like the different pages, events, projects, about. So as you see, um, nothing changed. So let's refresh. So you see, it was able to track like the different page views. We can also go to like real time to see like a real time update of um, the logs. So here you can see, for example, if I go back to home, um, it appears here in real time. So that's nice if you want to see things in real time. So that's Umami. By default, it already automatically track page views as you navigate through different pages in your website. You can also filter by site here if you have multiple sites. By default, it's showing like all the sites. So let's filter, for example. The dashboard will show you um, just the same dashboard for your website. So that's Umami. Basic setup for like tracking page views. Let's take a look at more features of Umami. Um, they actually have it in their site. That is /docs. So let's take a look at other features. So we're able to add a website. We are able to collect data. We're able to add an account. So let's try events. So by default, Umami keeps track of page views, right? But we can also track custom events. So what are custom events? So they are basically like other interactions of the user in your site that you want to track. For example, I want to know if someone clicked this, or I want to track if, for example, in my articles, if someone clicked on the tweet this article, I want to track those events. So those are also possible with Umami in addition to page views. So how do we do that? So the docs for that is here, track events, but back in our code, so this is like your website's code already. Um, there are 2 ways. So according to the Umami docs, there are 2 ways to track events. One is like the declarative way, which is you define classes on your elements. So let's do that. First, I need to find the code for this tweet, this article button. I mean link. I think it's here. Yeah. So let me just zoom out a little. So this is like the tweet this article button. Yeah, it's a button. The first way of tracking events is through a class. So format is this Umami. The event is like the name of the event you want to track, and then the event name, which could be anything. So let's do that. Umami click, and then what do I call this? Like share button. So save, and yes, thank you. Live reload, and let's see. Let's go to real time. So when I click this, so it should open Twitter. Okay, thank you. I don't need that for now. But if you go back here where we see it's able to track that event, so that's nice. You can also filter like views or visitors or events. So pretty standard dashboard stuff. So that's tracking using CSS classes, which is more declarative. You don't have to write JavaScript stuff. Another way also, if you want like more control over like the tracking, is using JavaScript. So let's try to switch that. So in my case of this share button, this tweet button could actually also say share this article if like share the web share API is supported. So I want to differentiate those two instead of just calling them share. So here I have separate function for that. The actual implementation doesn't matter. So I have a tweet this article and then share this article. So I'd like to track them separately. For let's just say that's what I want. So in that case, I would have to use like the JavaScript API from Umami. So as you see here, just call Umami with like some string, which is the event type. So let's try it. Umami, let's say tweet article. Umami share article. Save. And we're still in real time. Okay. So let's try clicking tweet this article and just close it. You see, it's able to track tweet this article. And if you notice, it now says that the event type is custom. So that's the default event type if we just call Umami directly. So let's say I want to like add name this into a specific event type. Like for example, click here. So I'd like to call it share or tweet, depending on which function that called. So in that case, we need to use a more specific function from Umami called track event. So track event accepts two arguments. First is like whatever string you want, and then the second is the event type, which in this case could be click, but in my case we call it tweet. And same here, track event, and in this case we'll call the event share. And so for me, the string doesn't really help when I look at analytics, so might as well remove this. But let's say I want to show like which article was tweeted or which article was shared, so I can pass in the slug of this article, for example, or it could be the title or whatever, depends on your app. So let's say slug for me is enough. So save, hit refresh. So let's try clicking tweet this article. So you now see that the event type is now tweet, and then the slug could be helpful if you look at it later, which article was tweeted. One thing that I wish was here, though I'm not sure, I haven't found it yet if it's available, is if it's possible to filter events. So I just want to see tweets, so I don't know if that's possible. It doesn't seem to be available in the UI. So that's one thing that's nice to have in the future. And what else? What's next? So that's tracking events. Next thing is, so this dashboard, this analytics dashboard with all the metrics and like page views and events, they're only visible to the account who owns it or like who added the website and who can log into the Umami app. But it's also possible uh, to make it public. and it's what so in the settings under websites, when you add a website or you can edit it, you can enable share URL. This will create a publicly shareable um, URL so that other people can see the analytics. So once we enable it, you can copy the share URL here from this button, copy it, and if let's say I'm going to open incognito, the analytics is now publicly shareable. So that's what they used also for the live demo for Umami site. This is just a publicly shareable URL for the website analytics. What else is here? So I guess, um, so yeah, language support. So I guess that's it for like basically basic usage of Umami. The tracker or Umami can also like be configured, can also accept configuration through the script tag. I mean this one. But we want to show that now. So data host, we don't need to do that. So data auto track, that's the default already. But if you want to disable it, let's for example, you don't want it to automatically track page views. So you can just disable it here by adding data auto track false. So that's cool. So also if the user, for example, in my browser, I have like do not track settings. I'm not sure if it's in here. Do not track. Okay, I'm okay here. So maybe like somewhere in the browser settings, if the user enabled like do not track na setting, Umami can also be like configured to not track, not perform any tracking. And for data cache, so it's basically just a way to like batch reports into the Umami site in case you have a very high traffic of events and like page views, I guess also. Um, so that's it about Umami, and you can deploy it since it's self-hosted. You can deploy it like wherever you want. Could be like in a DigitalOcean droplet or other server providers that you use. And that's it about Umami. Yes, that's it. Thank you. That's all for me.
All right. Time for some questions, guys. Anyone?
I have a question. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
So my question is like, in Google Analytics, it's significantly more powerful. Like you can see demographics of your users, like which among the users are female, is it 50%, age range or whatever. Uh, can is it also possible in Umami?
Yes, good question. Answer is currently no, as far as I know, and as far as I can see from their site, it's not possible. Yeah, Google Analytics has a lot of um, useful like features related to your audience. So like the demographics, like the age range and everything, gender, I guess. Those are not currently available in Umami. Yeah. So it's mostly just like page views, referrers, top pages that are visited, and like countries where the requests are coming from. So things like that are possible in Umami, but other more advanced features from Google Analytics, they're currently not there. So it would be nice to have them in the future, but I don't see how that would work yet.
Okay, I have a question. I don't know if I just missed this, but this is open source, right?
Yes, it's open source. The repo is in GitHub.
And actively
Uh,
maintained.
yes, I just opened a PR to it like this week, and it was very, it's very actively maintained. So, yeah.
Okay, that's it. Just looking for something to contribute for Oktoberfest. I'm just kidding.
Yes, that's what I did.
All right.
Maybe
Any other
so
question,
well,
guys?
Yeah,
I'm
while
sorry.
you're also thinking of questions, maybe I could share also about other things or like other limitations that I can see with Umami. So currently, it doesn't. So with Google Analytics, you can give, I think you can give access to other users to your dashboard. Um, with Umami, you can't exactly do that. So you only have one account who has access to like the website analytics. So if you want others to like see it, it's either you share your credentials with them or you make your analytics page public using the publicly shareable URL. So I think it's like an area for improvement for Umami also to have like user roles and stuff like that. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, any more questions? Oh, so this is a short session compared for the last time. So I think that's it for us. That's it for this session.
Yep.
So we only spent 20 minutes for it. So I think it's time for the outro. Okay. So like for this session, we talked about Umami, an alternative for Google Analytics. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next session. So I hope we will have two speakers for next sessions. People this week are so busy. So we have Arnelle, Kuya Arnelle to save us all to have this weekly session. So currently we just drag whomever we want. No, not we want, like whomever we can convince to join us and talk about anything that is related to tech. So if you're like a tech person and you have a, tech that you want to talk about, or like you created some tech and you want to talk about it, we can help you in that and host here. We can have a guest. We can have you as a guest. So yeah. So if you're that person, you can slide into Kuya Arnel's DM. And yeah, that's it. I think see you next week. I'm not also very prepared for this. Anyways, thank you
See
guys.
you next week.
See you next
Thank you,
week.
everyone.
Balik-balik po.
Bye.
Bye-bye.